Hi, my name is Vanua. I'm originally from Rio, but I live in Nandi. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Bula, I'm John from Kornabuan, Papua. I love listening to Today FM. It rocks.
Bula, I'm Teopola.
Bula, I'm Agnesi.
We love listening to Today FM because it rocks in Ba.
Bula, my name is Isal. I've been listening to Today FM.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Tonight, expatriate doctors to fill specialist positions. EU provides $44 million for Pacific Island Forum. And Paris Agreement hailed as human rights law.
From the studios of FBC Suba, Amrita Sagar.
The Fijian government will soon be hiring specialized doctors from overseas to assist in the health sector. Economy Minister Ayah Said Qayyum says this is one way of filling the gap for specialized doctors. Kelly Vadala reports.
In order to provide better health services to all Fijians in areas where specialized treatment is needed, expatriate doctors will be brought in to help out, but that doesn't mean local doctors won't receive training.
The next couple of months, we are hiring actually a lot of specialists to be brought in from overseas, ear, nose and throat specialists, gynecologists, urologists. So it should not only be based in Suva or Lotuka, they should be in Nandi too. To get a heart surgeon, it takes 15 years or so to get them trained up. You can't produce, just because you do a MBBS doesn't mean you become a heart surgeon. So we want to get these people across, but in the meantime we have to keep on training our Fijian doctors to build that capacity.
Syed Qayyum was at a budget consultation in Nandi today and told those present that the government will now pay doctors tuition fees if they want to become specialists in certain fields of medicine.
So we need to invest in our people. And that's what we're doing. So today, if anybody that's hired as a doctor by the Fijian government and works in any of the hospitals, if they want to do postgraduate studies at Fiji National University, we pay for that for free, because we want them to get the specialization.
Doctors' salaries were increased by up to 80% last year, but there's still local qualified doctors who are migrating for further studies and greener pastures. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Meanwhile, a recruitment process is underway to hire about 300 nurses to fill internal nursing positions. Health Minister Rosie Akbar says this will address staffing needs in hospitals and regional health centres throughout the country. Sharon Shivan reports.
A lack of nurses in the health facilities has always been an issue.
Nursing is evolving, health systems are evolving, healthcare and service delivery is evolving, so we need to respond. And most of all, the bottom line is how well do nursing respond to population health needs of this country.
Now the Health Ministry has announced the recruitment program, which will target recent graduate nurses from Fiji National University and the Sangam Institute of Nursing.
It has significantly progressed in additional new nursing positions in the last 7 years, and government has continued to keep up on its agenda. Today, we have managed to increase an additional 1,300 new nursing positions.
$3.5 million has been allocated in the 2016-2017 budget dedicated to the funding of the recruitment process and hiring of the new nurses. Akbar also stressed the importance of meeting the frontline staffing requirements to ensure access to quality health care for the Fijians.
With the existing health landscape, nursing leadership have continued to present the need to review these numbers by 2018. Empowering nurses to administer these strategic and operational goals in achieving the SDGs should be given due priority. Appropriate tools.
The new nurses will help fulfill the commitment undertaken by government to hire 1,000 new nurses into Fiji's health sector. Sharon Shivan, FBC News.
The European Union has signed a $44 million agreement with the Pacific Island Forum. The deal will see the EU supporting Pacific regional investment projects. Sainiani Moila reports.
The European Union has stamped the multi-million-dollar deal to help the Pacific Island Forum member countries with investment in infrastructure and to support the expansion of private sector growth.
Putting money here in order to support the programs which are defined by the Pacific people through their institutions and countries in order to create opportunity for investment and generating jobs. With this investment facility, 20 million euro, which in Fiji dollars makes 44 million.
Secretary General Dame Meg Taylor said this sustainable investment will help diversify member countries' economies and will help them connect to other international markets.
Innovation, really, to look at the support that would be given through to strengthen private sector, focus on infrastructure and other key financial aspects that the people within or businesses within the Pacific sometimes having difficulty having access to finance, but also if you can have greater equity in investments, it will also be.
The European Union is also collaborating with Pacific Island countries on waste management, coastal and ocean resources as part of its indicative program 2014 to 2020. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
One of the authors of the Paris Agreement says it's the strongest human rights document of all international environmental agreements. Dr. Cosmin Corendia is in Fiji for research and spoke to FBC News about what went into preparing what is now a historic agreement on climate change. Kelly Vadala reports.
Those who drafted the Paris Agreement are confident it's a success because of how quickly it was adopted by 196 countries, committing to a reduction in carbon emissions.
You are on the front line. You are one of the first areas and regions in the world to be affected. IPCC already predicted some sea level rising. The impacts are becoming more and more visible. The movement of people associated with climate change is starting to become more and more present.
Prime Minister Bainimarama spoke in the United States this week as president of COP23, addressing private sector climate leaders in the US. Bainimarama says it's vital for every country to stay the course in implementing the Paris Agreement. I come from a small country, but I have been given a huge task and I intend to fulfill it. Fully implementing the Paris Agreement is a cause worth fighting for the sake of our planet and 7.5 billion of our fellow global citizens. We must not falter, we must prevail.
For the Pacific, it means a bust. It means something which should put more work into it and address the climate change a little bit rapidly.
Prime Minister Bainimarama in his presidency of COP23 says Fiji doesn't need a lesson on climate change because the extreme weather events and rising seas are a constant challenge and a constant threat. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The Fiji National Council for Disabled Persons is lobbying for more children with disabilities to be included in the mainstream education system. Chief Executive Dr. Sitiveni Yanyanutawa says they are working with the Ministry of Education to try and provide the best education possible for children with special needs. Kelly Vadala once again.
Only a small percentage of children with disabilities are part of the mainstream education system in Fiji.
Give persons with disability or children with disabilities who have the potential in the academic arena to give them a chance in mainstream education. We know that not all persons with disabilities or even children with disabilities won't be able to achieve a place in the mainstream education.
Dr. Yanyanutawa says they are aware that accessibility is a challenge in the mainstream education environment. Most schools don't have provisions for the specific needs of children with disabilities. Many people with disabilities who have now become contributing citizens say inclusive education will help kids with special needs understand the world better.
Come away from their comfort zone and enjoy themselves.
I think it's a good idea to mix around with normal students and share ideas and also engage in the same opportunities as others.
This is my grandson, and most of the time he is bullied or teased by the other able-bodied students but I think it's just fair that they have their own institution.
Dr. Enuentawa says inclusive education can help children with disabilities develop a positive understanding about themselves and others, overcome barriers of discrimination, and also for society to see that they can perform. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Still to come, Biosecurity Fiji CEO resigns.
हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची एफएम सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मेसी है, हम गोल्ड टाउन तापुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची इज हॉट इन तापुआ।
Hi, we Bangals. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तापुआ में रहता है, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची एफएम is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Xavier Riaz Khan has resigned as Chief Executive of the Biosecurity Authority of Fiji for personal reasons. BAF has appointed Hilary Kumwenda as the acting CEO. Kumwenda is a trade policy advisor to Fiji from the Commonwealth Secretariat, specializing in multilateral, regional and bilateral trade negotiations and implementation and other areas. He has worked with the Ministry of Trade in advancing Fiji's international trade and development, providing advice to Fiji to improve its industries and comply with international standards and obligations. The Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption will be piloting the AntiCorruption educational program in 4 schools in each division this year. FICAC Public Relations Officer Nandini Vandana says the Education Ministry supports the initiative and they're currently working together to implement the program in all schools by 2019. The introduction of anti-corruption studies in schools is part of FICAC's plan for the next 5 to 10 years.
They are learning. And at this time, some people might ask, why are you targeting young people? But these are the leaders of today. They are leaders in their schools, they are leaders in their community, at church, in the social gatherings. So they are the ones that will be in the workforce. And as we are planning on changing mindsets, changing persons' mindsets to say no to corruption, these are the very people that will be joining the workforce and who can say no to corruption.
Now, the man accused of allegedly raping a student at Holland Street in Suva 3 months ago has been further remanded. Isua Renima appeared before Suva High Court Judge Justice Salesitemo yesterday. 19-year-old Renima is charged 7 counts of rape and 1 count each of robbery and assault. The state has asked for 21 days to file information and the matter has been adjourned to May 3rd. BLK Sport is now 50% Fijian owned after a local entered into a joint venture partnership with an international partner. The company, which was previously owned by an Australian family, went into receivership in late December 2016. Eleanor Turangevu tells us more.
BLK Sport is now re-strategizing its operations in Fiji. Now with its 50% Fijian ownership, the company plans to make its presence more visible.
Our approach is quite different this time around. With our knowledge of the market, with how we born and raised in Fiji, we thought we take a different approach in terms of how BLK is now made for Fijian and also a Fijian brand. We're taking it to the people rather than the people coming to us.
BLK has an international presence in almost all major sports with its world-class apparel and design. It's now taking the brand to another level with the creation of a unique Fijian design.
At the moment, it's in final design, but I can assure you when we unveil this new design, it will take Fiji to a global platform in terms of the product and the look and feel of Fijian tradition and culture.
Director Commercial and Marketing Linganguki Suva says the BLK brand is becoming stronger and they are putting in place strategies to ensure customers keep walking into their stores.
BLK brand is made for Fijian. Aggressiveness of how we play, the approach that we take, you can be rest assured with the product, even though we are Fijian owned, it doesn't mean that the product is any lesser. I can assure you whatever is enjoyed globally will be also available to the local at a very affordable price.
Along with all the changes, customers can expect a drop in prices of BLK merchandise as well as more shops opening up around the country. Eleanor Turangevu, FBC News.
The island of Vanua Levu in the province of Nakhon Drove has made history, convening its first Vanua meeting in 60 years. Its people vacated the island more than 5 decades ago for Taviuni, Vanua Levu and Viti Levu for the education of their children, to be close to medical facilities and other urban services. Over that period, the Nangele Levu, Ngolingoli and the island itself have been poached for coconut crabs, beach dimmer, fish, giant clams and other resources. Spokesperson Mika Longa says the Bose Vanua has re-established its traditional structure, appointed a head of the Yevusa and implemented security measures against poachers. Nangele Levu is located on the northeast of Vanua Levu surroundings. An integrated awareness program was conducted for members of the Kalambu community in Nasinu after a lapse of 2 years. The approach was made by the Divisional Manager Community Policing Southern and his team following concerns about the involvement of youth in various crimes. Community Policing Coordinator Inspector Silimaka says it was encouraging to have the support of village elders. Other government agencies such as the Ministry of Health, Youth and Sports, Land Transport Authority and the National Fire Authority were also present. Well, coming up in sports, Lambasa proves too good for Ba. And prominent schools dominate Rugby League semi-finals.
Warong na radio Fijuan.
Bulan evango fina wa korviri nandi au talitaka na warongo na radio Fijuan na programa ni masmasu na mataklailai.
Oya ochone kurina bila mai bunangoru na makete hinga toka bwe do talitakini na warongo na radio Fijuan gena na domo ibiti.
Na radio Fijuan na domo ibiti na bonga ni bienen.
Lambasa proved it always plays best at home, beating Ba 3-0 at Subril Park this afternoon. Lambasa took the control of Vodafone Premier League match for the first time, ensuring it took maximum points. Vashnil Prasad reports.
It was the clash of two heavyweights in the Vodafone Premier League. Title holders bar up against Lambasa at Subrail Park. Lambasa's Antonio Tuivuna was the hero for the side, getting in two almost identical goals. Bambasinga Lions led 2-0. It got tough for the men in black in the second spell, trying to set a game plan but failing. Lambasa could have gotten its first goal in the second half much earlier, but this close call from Nikhil Chand caught everyone napping. Lambasa goalkeeper Aquila Mataisuva was also at his best, making some impressive saves in front of his home crowd. It was a memorable debut for former Nandronga player Johnny Tanimbaksh as he got his first goal and Lambasa's third in the last quarter of the game. With 7 points in bag, the Bambasinga Lions takes the lead on the league standings. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Spots.
Fiji football coach Christophe Gamel has sent a message to the two district teams playing in the Pillais Garment Champion versus Champion series. The Frenchman says the days of kick and chase football are over. Vashnil Prasad once again.
Which will be hosted by the national team coach wants to witness a structured football when Lautoka and Ba meets in the Champion versus Champion series.
We hope really to see football, not kick and chase or this kind of thing. I come for this project and we want that they develop, and the Ba and Lautoka, I have no problem with that because each time they try to perform their best with modern play.
For Gamel, it will be something new since he took up the coaching job in Fiji. CVC jerseys for both teams were on show during the launching, with the sponsor also handing over $22,000.
From this cash we get, we also pay the district for the preparation. We should have gone this week. And then the winner gets 5 grand. The runners-up is 2.5, I understand.
The opening match will be played next Friday, with the return leg to be held 2 days later at Churchill Park in Lautoka. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
4 players in the Fiji Sevens team are raring to make their first appearance in Hong Kong next weekend. They've been with the side the whole season and hope Hong Kong will turn out to be lucky for them. Vashnil Prasad reports.
The Fiji 7 side consists of players who have won the Olympic gold medal and some who are yet to taste victory. Players like Mesulame Kunavula, Setareki Bituniata, Kalione Nasoko and Nathanieli Lambalamba are optimistic about our chances of a title win in Hong Kong.
New players, it's a new experience, and that's why somebody like Nisaki and Ossia are gonna give that sort of I suppose that structure to what we need to do, and let those boys just concentrate on their game and get them into the atmosphere of Hong Kong and as if it was a home game for us.
Even coach Gareth Beiba has similar expectations with 0 wins from 4 tournaments.
Best cup battle for you? Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah.
With the team settling into Hong Kong, experienced players know they'll have a lot of expectations on them.
Now I'm trying my best to shake them up. They are young lads, a lot of potential, uncompromised type of character they have. So I guess they're really looking forward.
Fiji kicks off its campaign against Japan next Friday. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Spots.
Fiji Bati prospects were in action in the Vodafone Secondary School's Rugby League competition at Rathavakambao Park. As Vashnil Prasad reports, the highlight of the day was Queen Victoria School, who thumped Lautoka Muslim 56-0 in the under-15 semi-final.
It was one-way traffic in the semi-final of the secondary school's competition. Our dominant QVS up against underdogs Lautoka Muslim. The giants of secondary school rugby proved too strong, thumping the Lautoka-based school 56-0.
Not only spiritual and not only mental and physically, but also spiritual preparation. That is the main strength of our preparation towards the semi-final.
Vanua Levu School also had a smooth ride into the final, beating Nasinu 22-4. Both camps are looking forward for a strong final in the under-15 grade.
This came first. We will be looking up to them, and we know they are much better than them. But we'll try to make a game plan to suit them in the next game, in the final.
We are ready to meet them in the final coming next week.
The secondary school's rugby league final will be held next weekend. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Spots.
On weather today, cloudy periods with some showers over Yasawa and the Mamanutha group, western Vanua Levu. The eastern parts and the interior of the other larger islands were experienced. Elsewhere, fine apart from afternoon or evening showers and isolated thunderstorms were experienced. Now, a trough lies to the northwestern part of Fiji and affects Rotuma. Looking at the Western Division, Bao was a steamy 34 degrees this afternoon, all other centres also in the mid-30s. Now, similar conditions in the east from Pacific Harbour to Suva, despite there being periods of rain during that day. And in Vanua Levu, more cloudy conditions and showers with temperatures were in the low 30s. At sea, easterly winds 15 to 20 knots with moderate to rough seas are expected. And for the tides, the next high tide is about 3 hours away. The sun comes up tomorrow at 6:16 a.m. Sunset is at 6:11 p.m. Tomorrow, you can expect cloudy conditions and showers and thunderstorms are forecast over the group. Tomorrow, however, the temperatures will be in the high 20s. Overnight lows could drop to about 21 degrees. As for Monday, cloudy periods with occasional showers and thunderstorms over the eastern parts and the interior of the other larger islands. Elsewhere, afternoon or evening showers and isolated thunderstorms with heavy falls are expected. Recapping the main stories, government to bring in expatriates to provide specialist medical services. Calls for mainstream education for special needs children. And Biosecurity Authority of Fiji Chief Executive Xavier Riaz Khan resigns. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. We move on to our poll question. This week we are asking, should a train system be put in place to curb peak hour traffic? Visit our FBC website to answer. Well, you can always send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page, FBC News, or you can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. Until next time, good night.
Warong
na Radio Fiji One.
Ula na vango fina mai korviri nandi au talitaka na wakarongo na Radio Fiji One na programu ni masmasu na mataklailai.
Oya ochone kurina mbila mai vunangoru na makete hinga toka kwe do talitaka ni na wakarongo na Radio Fiji One gene na domo iviti.
Na Radio Fiji One na domo iviti na vonga ni bienen.